Hello, this is Mark. Welcome. Tonight, I'm having tea with Jennifer. Jennifer, do you want to introduce yourself to everybody?
Sure. Hi, everybody. I'm Jennifer DiGuardi. I'm a personal trainer and nutritionist, and I've been doing this for a while now. And I'm really excited to, just kind of share my viewpoint and my take on what I do for a living today with you guys.
Thank you much, Jennifer. And one question I want to ask you is, how did you get into the whole entire personal training type of realm?
That's a really good question because that was never my intention to get into fitness as a career. I stumbled upon it because I was actually fighting with weight myself. So I was a really in shape kid my whole life. I never battled weight until college happened. And it's usually the freshman 15. And I put on the freshman 15 and then the second semester freshman 15. And then I added a few more in my first semester as a sophomore. So I was about 35 pounds overweight, at least overweight from what I was used to. And I wanted to change, but I knew I wanted to do it the right way. So I was a major in musical performance, and I was taking all of my, extracurricular towards like music and acting, that kind of thing. And I said, well, let me try a nutrition because I need to do a science anyway, and I need to learn how to lose weight. So let me take a nutrition class, get myself educated, and kind of go from there. When I was done with that nutrition class, I immediately enrolled in the dietetics program. And I also got myself certified to be a personal trainer because I just fell in love with not only helping myself, but the ability of helping other people too. And I was so surprised to see such a passion for myself, for an excitement in a new career, as much as I had loved being in front of an audience for drama or music or whatever performance stuff I was doing at the time. So I really it just kind of happened. It was like the perfect time and the perfect place to marry the education and my own personal battle that I was having, and it just worked.
So you wanted to get yourself into shape, and in turn, you found this into a passion, and then you went out and got yourself educated and certified and everything like that. So my question is, like, how long did it take you to get the results that you desired? And then after that, how long were you, to get your first customer?
Well, what's crazy is it kind of happened in reverse order. I'd lost a few pounds in that nutrition class. I would maybe took off like 6 or 7 pounds, and I was feeling good about myself. And even though I wasn't where I wanted to be, and I questioned myself, like, do I have what it takes to be a personal trainer? Like, I'm still not exactly where I want to be with my fitness level and my physique, but I had the knowledge, and I was like, you know what? I'm going to go through this almost with my clients. So I had my first client right away. As soon as I graduated from the personal training program, I got a job within a week. And within a couple weeks after my training in that particular gym setting, I was already training. So it took me about 5 years to get exactly where I wanted to be. My progress was very slow and steady, and I would lose about 10 pounds and then I would maintain it. Then I would lose maybe 5 pounds and then I would maintain it. It was very slow, and it sounds strange because most personal trainers are like all or none, and I didn't find that to be right for me. So I really kind of took it as this is right for me right now. And even though I'm stuck at this plateau, I'm just going to be happy and enjoy my progress and what I've done. And that's what makes me a unique personal trainer, I think. And that's why I've bonded with so many women, especially teaching women to kind of be patient and enjoying this process and not rushing it and forcing it. Because sometimes your body's just not ready to let go of those pounds. Unless you do it a really unhealthy way, which I'm not willing to teach and I'm not willing to do myself. So those clients somehow find me.
So that's really amazing because, a lot of people, when it comes down to weight loss and losing weight, they want that quick result, right?
Yeah.
And your approach, what I like, when you apply it to yourself, is the fact that it's gradual, you allow yourself some time, and you stuck with it. So what advice do you give to people, like, that want that quick result, but don't want to wait for the gradual.
Well, the advice that I give is I really just say, like, is if you lose it in a week, you're going to gain it in a week. So if you lose 5 pounds this week, good for you. That's great that you've had that discipline. You're not going to have it next week or the week after or the week after that. It's short term, it's temporary. So if you want to go that route, great. I'm just not the person for you. So I just try to teach them, just take your time through it and love who you are right at this moment. And that is the hardest thing to teach, because people hate themselves in the beginning. They talk about what they hate. I hate my stomach. I hate my arms. I hate my size. I'm so embarrassed. And I have to try to teach them to love where they are at right now, because if you don't, it comes from a bad place. It comes from you don't deserve to eat. You should exercise, and you punish yourself. And that's not long-term, where long-term success comes from. Long-term success comes from treating your body like you envision how you hope to be. If you want to be a size 6 or a size whatever, well, what does a size 6 person eat for breakfast? How do they fuel their body? How do they stay active in their day? You have to start loving yourself, and you appreciate your body and where you are at the very moment. And that comes with you take the pressure off of it. It stops becoming about getting on the scale every single day to see how much weight you lost. Not that there's anything wrong with stepping on the scale every day, as long as you can keep your emotions in check with it. And that's also a very difficult thing to do, especially I think for women. We put so much pressure on size and weight and numbers.
Because everybody wants to look thin and they want to look beautiful, and they just don't want to wait for the results to come. So you also mix in some sort of life coaching we do as well. So you want to elaborate on that part too?
Yeah, I mean, the life coaching is mostly now I don't do, I won't say it's life coaching. I'd say it's more happiness coaching. I try to find what makes people happy, because for me, that's what life is about, is finding what makes you happy and putting yourself in that role on a daily basis. Of course, we can't be happy 100% of the time. That's impossible, but so miserable. They're so unhappy with their day-to-day life. And then you mix that with, you don't like how you look. That's a downward spiral. So I try to fish out not only what are your weight loss goals, what are your fitness goals, but what are your life goals? What do you want to do with your life? What makes you really happy? So for example, one girl she just loves animals, but she can't have animals because of her apartment. So I said, okay, we're going to incorporate this into your fitness training. So you have to join a volunteer, something local, where you can go volunteer at your local shelter, and you have to walk dogs 3 times a week for a minimum of 1 hour. So I need a minimum of 1 hour of activity, so they're getting a little bit of their cardio, and they're also feeling their passion of animals and being around dogs and feeling like they help something and somebody. So that's just kind of an example of kind of stepping outside the box, and not just, all right, here's your routine, do it 5 times a week, and eat tuna fish and chicken for the rest of your life. That's not what I'm about. I want you to enjoy your life.
So you want people to basically find out what they like, and then you help them figure that out, and then put together a program to supplement that. Is that correct?
Yeah, absolutely. So I try to find, it's great. It's easy when it's something like, oh, I love dancing, and so we kind of steer that fitness into more of a dance goal instead of a weight loss goal. So, those ones, I just try to fish out what makes people happy and what gives people good energy. And it's crazy. Like when you're happy, you want to treat yourself better. You're more aware of your daily, just your daily energy, almost like, okay, I'm feeling down. I'm feeling down because this, they start to become like, oh, I want to eat because I'm not happy right now. So instead of eating, maybe I can go for a walk, or maybe I can go to a dance class. They start to develop these find these other tools that can satisfy that instead of just food.
I really like that approach because you're right. Because when people like aren't happy, first thing they do is that they eat, and I know for myself, when I'm not happy or whatever, I'm getting some desserts or whatever,
Right.
I'm figuring out, well, I'm not going to go to the gym and work out,
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah.
So,
but if you had something that made you happy, then you could do that instead of just going to the gym.
Yeah. I think I really like that approach because by finding out what makes someone happy, it actually motivates you to go out and do it, right? And you get that whole entire, change in their perception about things. And then why not, be healthy and enjoy doing it?
Absolutely.
And how about nutrition? You advise people about nutrition as well?
I do, and that's been my new favorite thing lately because I'm getting good at it. At first it was a lot of salads and a lot of kind of bland, boring food, but I've found some ways and in some ingredients to really spice things up to make it not only healthy but also make it taste good. And a lot of times with my clients, I'll go over their house and we'll cook together so that I can really see if they're if they really like it or if they're just trying to appease me. I can really get a better feel of what flavors suit them better. And together we find a plan that works for them as opposed to just the same nutrition for everybody.
And also, isn't eating the right food combination, healthy foods, doesn't it make you feel better as a person as well?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, there's a bunch of components that go with, feeling good, sleep being one of them. That's huge. You have to start getting, your 7 to 8 hours of sleep a night. But then a quick second is your nutrition. If you're working out and you're, even if you're doing really well with your workouts and you're not eating right, you're not going to get the results and you're not going to get that feeling. You're not going to get the feeling of success or proper energy. So I think it's really important. It's most important to find foods that work with your body. And that's different for everybody too. There are so many things out there. There's the low carb, there's low fat, there's paleo, there's just all these different kinds of things. It's so confusing as to what's right. And there is no answer to what's right. It's what's right for you and your body. So that's what's really interesting also.
So it's finding out what's right for the person and not necessarily a particular diet. Because like so many people that I know of, especially now, are going through the types of diets, right? I'm not going to eat bread or I'm not going to eat sugars. But it's not necessarily just that, right? It's more than that, correct?
Absolutely. It's different things work for different people. There are so many people that swear by I get results right away when I do low carb. Okay. Well, how do you feel when you do low carb? Terrible. I'm exhausted. I'm angry. Okay, well, how long does it work for? So you have to really, you've got to find well, maybe it's not just carbs, maybe it's sugars, maybe it's a certain kind of carbs because it hurts your stomach and makes you bloat. So we do a food diary and we start seeing what not only works for you weight loss wise, but what makes you feel good, what makes you feel bad. And then we cut things and we add things and we just tweak it. And this is why it took me so long because, between reading all of these nutrition books of the fads and what's trendy, and on top of learning the nutritionally sound information, I was getting contradicting things. So I kind of tried it all. And I figured out, well, what works for me and what works for my friend were two totally different things. And scientifically, it should have worked for both of us, but it didn't. So that I had a really hard time when I was doing this in the very beginning, because I'm like, well, here's the science behind it and here's how your body is supposed to process it, but this isn't working for that person. So I was getting really frustrated. So it's a very delicate balance between what is right and what is right for you. So you've got to figure that out, and nobody will know that answer, not any personal trainer. You have to figure that out.
Really, really amazing stuff. It's very interesting, and it's a gradual process. figuring out what is right for you, and then just like sticking to a plan. So if someone's going to work with you, what process do you take when you take someone on new?
Well, the process is different for each person because it's, I like to adapt it based on where they are and where they want to be. So if I'm working with somebody that's mostly weight loss, like somebody who has a lot of weight to lose, like let's say over 30 pounds, then the process, I warn them, is going to be slow. It's going to be gradual, and we're going to be spending a lot of time together and a lot of communication. So they're texting me constantly. I like to be in the loop of, I want you to tell me what you ate and how you felt after you ate it, even how you felt before you ate it. Why did you eat it? Were you hungry? Were you nervous? Were you upset, angry? We try to figure out their patterns and what, there's so many different patterns. There's the people who like binge, they'll eat a lot of food and then they won't eat for like 6 hours because they feel guilty or bad. And then there are people who just eat all the time because they're told that, you're supposed to eat every 2 hours, but they're not having results with that. So it's really me studying them is really what I do in the beginning. And it takes me a good 3 months, which again is very different for other personal trainers. Other personal trainers are like, here's my program. This is how it's done. You stick to it and I guarantee you results. And again, that's great for some people, but I think a lot of people, it's temporary. As soon as they stop training with that trainer, as soon as they stop with that accountability, where are you? Where are you then? You're not going to want to eat those same foods. You don't want that same workout regimen over and over and over again. My goal is to not be your personal trainer forever. I want to train you for however long it takes for you to get, and then go off on your own and do it yourself. Of course, I'm always here because it does happen where people will be fine for a couple of years and then old habits come back, and I get a phone call like like a tail between their legs, like, I'm sorry you're going to be so mad at me, but it's a process, and it happens, and we're all human and we all revert back to some of our nature, and it's just getting back on track. So everybody's just different.
It's a whole lifestyle approach, and I really like what I like is your hands-on like approach in terms of working with somebody, but you're not like putting someone into a cookie cutter type of program that's not going to work for everybody. I like the fact that your approach is personalized for each person. And what I also like is the fact that you are open. You're
Yes.
You're very open to, and communicating.
Right. Yeah.
So,
Absolutely.
how did people get a hold of you?
I'm mostly word of mouth at this point, but a lot of people will contact me on Facebook and Instagram.
So they look you up on Instagram and Facebook?
Yes.
And do you want to spell your last name?
Yes, it's DIGUARDI. So Facebook, you can find me at Jennifer DiGuardi, and on Instagram, it's J DiGuardi.
And in closing, do you have any words of advice to people as they come into the holiday season about how to approach the holiday and the coming new year?
My favorite. Yes, I do. The average person puts on about 7 pounds between Halloween and New Year's. So my advice is, on the holiday, you eat whatever you want. Don't restrict yourself. If you want Christmas cookies, if you want turkey and gravy, just eat what you want. It's the surrounding days that are the trouble. It's the office cookies, it's the parties and all of those things. So make those days really special, knowing that you can indulge fully. And then around those days, try to stick to what works good for you. Maybe it's, I'm not saying don't ever have Christmas cookies at the office party or anything like that, but let it, like, have a rule, have a set, like, okay, I'm going to have 1 cookie. Portions are huge. So watch your portions, enjoy your holidays, and don't diet on those days.
So enjoy the holidays, portion control, I hear, and don't beat yourself up, right?
Yes, that's a very good point. Absolutely. Love yourself a little.
Because you know, I know for myself, you know, I'm the type of person, I love sweets. I love cookies and
Yeah.
cakes. When that stuff is around, I'm eating it, you know, and then I feel bad about
Yeah.
myself afterwards.
Right.
Don't feel
Right.
bad about it, but control how much you eat.
Try to control how much you eat. And if you have a bad day, get over it. Move on. Don't beat yourself up. Tomorrow's a new day. Just be better that day, because you don't want that feeling of that day when you overate. You don't want that to carry into the next day. So make the next day better, but don't linger on it.
Jennifer, that was awesome. And I really do appreciate you being on my show tonight. And, you
Yeah,
know,
thank you.
in closing, do you have any last words? What's it for everybody?
Last words of wisdom, I would just say to find what works for you and do something you love.
All right, Jennifer. And you want to say goodnight to everybody?
Good night, everybody. Have a wonderful evening. Sleep well.